Hi, excuse the mess. I'm moving. Much better. After I released my video talking about game footage not being final in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, a lot of people arrived to the conclusion the only reason why any footage or gameplay has been improved is because it isn't Game Freak working on the games. So I guess that just got me thinking that maybe it would be worth my time to make a video showcasing some of the things that have changed between development and the final product. You know, things that they have actually physically shown us in trailers or pre-release screenshots. I'm already content with the idea that I'm going to be preaching to the choir, by the way. I don't imagine I'm going to change many people's minds on Game Freak. People already have their opinions and that's fine. I just think at the end of the day, this is a pretty cool video to go over, because this whole game footage not final thing has been going on for as long as they've been teasing games, which most of you are too young to even remember, me included. I didn't join the Pokemon community until the release of Black and White. So the first thing I want to share is pretty basic. So back when Pokemon Platinum was, I guess, being teased, I don't actually know. This was the sprite for Giratina Origin form. When I was younger, I actually saw this and I thought that this was just the Japanese sprite. But of course, as you guys know, this was just a beta sprite of Giratina Origin. They literally showed a sprite that, of Giratina Origin that they didn't even use in the final game as like a teaser. Like look at the difference between these two. This sprite is so much better. But yeah, when I was younger, I genuinely thought this was just a Japanese sprite because there used to be sprite differences between versions. That's a pretty soft example of game footage not final. While we're on the topic of Diamond and Pearl, this is a beta screenshot of the beach below Sangem Town, I believe, the town where you meet Professor Robin, or where his lab is rather. This is a beta screenshot. And then this is the actual game. These rocks are completely different. The ones in the water especially, the water looks completely different. It's placed differently. Yet another example of game footage not final. We also have pretty big changes being made to Castelia City. This is before and this is after. They just brought it to life. The Pokemon Center looks completely different. I mean, it doesn't look amazing because, you know, they tried to basically do 3D on a DS game, but it's still another example of change being made. This was shown before the game was released. This is what the game actually looks like when it was released. Lazy Game Freak. All right, since we're going through this in order, this was a screenshot from the trailer. I'm pretty sure. They completely changed the angle of Route 3 in Pokemon X and Y. This is what the actual area looks like when you're playing. I recorded this gameplay a couple hours ago. The pathing color has changed a lot. It just looks much nicer. I mean, this was a pretty low quality image to be fair, but overall it just looks nicer. You can tell the rocks over at the side here have definitely changed too. In terms of colors, things have been polished up at least, and obviously the camera angle helps a lot too. And to double down on this, we have this is trailer footage right here. This is the area I was talking about. It looks pretty garbage at this angle, so I imagine that's why they changed it. But yeah, would you look at that? Down in the bottom right, it says game footage not final. And what do you know? The game footage wasn't final because this is what walking through Route 3 looks like in the actual game. This is it. This is what I recorded earlier today. This is Route 3, and then this is what was shown. While we're on the topic of Generation 6, I think it is also worth noting that in one of the trailers, Gardevoir uses Fairy Wind, despite the fact not being able to learn it. Now, I know this isn't a graphical change, but it's still, you know, it's still one of those game footage not final things. Maybe Gardevoir had plans to learn Fairy Wind. Maybe the people that were just recording the footage were just like, yeah, it probably can, and just assumed it did. There's another game move error. Blaziken in pre-release screenshots has Ice Punch, despite the fact it can't actually learn Ice Punch. Next up, we're on to everybody's favorite generation, Generation 8. Now, besides the tree that was shown, a lot of people were mad that this brick wall right here wasn't touching the floor. Truly some great game-breaking stuff right here. Joe told me that they actually did wind up fixing it, so I asked Lotad to, I guess, play up to that part in the game and check for me. This is the same exact wall people were complaining about. I don't want to sit here and lie to you. I think the camera angle on this one just maybe helps it. I don't know, maybe it was actually fixed, but it, you know, obviously it's not perfect. I don't think this image right here is possible to get in the game at all. This image was for trailer purposes only, I'm pretty sure. So maybe that's why it is the way it is. We do also have some gameplay of like the grass clipping underneath the wall or whatever. Thank you, Lotad, for that again. I just want to say, dude, I am fully aware that Game Freak are not perfect. And I mean, as much as I love Sword and Shield, the game definitely has flaws. Like, just check this one out. Like, what's, you know, the moonwalking Zacian. Look at this. Look at her go. She's moonwalking. Game is by no means flawless. There's a lot more to delve into. But I think people that want Pokemon to be better shoot themselves in the foot a bit by being so aggressive and being adamant that nothing changes between game footage not final and the release of the game. Absolutely nothing changes. And then when you show them things do change, they're like, oh, it's only because it's not Game Freak, or oh, it wasn't that big of a change. It's just like, after I posted my video, people were commenting like, oh, I really hope this means that the chibi art style is going to be completely removed. And I'm just like, no, I don't think so. They might do some things to make the chibis look nicer, but I think that's the style they're going with. I don't imagine they would overhaul that or even have the capability of doing that between now and release. This is what they mean by gameplay not final. The amount of work Game Freak does to pull things together just months before release is honestly insane. Context: left image is from a May 2018 prototype build, which is the same month that Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee got announced. Most of the game didn't even have finished battle environments just 6 months before released. And yeah, we have, this is the same month the game was announced, and then this was the final build. So as I was saying, this is probably from a prototype build. This probably isn't from a trailer or anything. But the fact that Nugget Bridge kind of just goes into the wall is a bit weird. But then the actual final game, you know, it's how it should be. I think people undersell how much, I guess, polishing is done between the reveal and the final game. And I also want to say, in a perfect world, Game Freak would have all the time they want to make their games. But I also understand Pokemon, Game Freak, Nintendo, they're businesses. They gotta churn out games for whatever reason you want to, you know, give. At the end of the day, it's for money. They're a business. Shocker. And you're allowed to not like that. That's completely fine. You're allowed to want better. But I think it's good to be realistic. It's not realistic to ask Game Freak to take more than a year off of releasing games. The Pokemon is a machine. We have more things about Sword and Shield that isn't just the tree. This was in the tree house. They were showing off Sword and Shield gameplay, and the Steelix just kind of randomly clips in here. They've obviously fixed that since then. I don't imagine I have to go into a Dynamax raid battle and show you that they fixed this. We know that they fixed this. This is no longer an issue. But again, just an example of the gameplay that they show you before releasing the game isn't what you're actually gonna get 100%. And here's the last example I have of game footage not final. This was in the trailer of Sword and Shield's Crown Tundra, I guess, announcement or whatever. We see, you know, Regieleki and Regidrago. Their little building. It looked kind of cute in the trailer, and then the actual thing looks so much nicer. Like, this is a pretty good example of game footage not final. Like, if we just switching back and forth there, like, just obviously this image is lower quality because it's ripped from YouTube, but it overall, like, the floor has a lot more detail on it now. You know, there's flowers and stuff. The lighting is much nicer, although maybe this was just taking at different times of day. It's just a much nicer image, and it just looks better. Actually, I lied. We have more images. This was, I imagine this was just like X and Y pre-release screenshots, and then, you know, this is the actual game. The trees look a little bit different. Obviously, we don't have the tower in the background to compare, but lighting wise, it looks much brighter, much prettier, doesn't look as dull. I was gonna say maybe this is just day and night, but then the sky is pure blue. But yeah, there's clouds there too now. Wow, crazy technology. And really last this time, and certainly not least, we have Diamond and Pearl screenshot. This is Munchlax's old back sprite, Weavile's old front sprite, and then what we actually wound up getting. Things change. This is just a fraction of the stuff that they will have shown in trailers or pre-release screenshots, and then it will be completely different when the game actually comes out. Because believe it or not, they do actually develop the games in the final upcoming months. Again, in a perfect world, Game Freak would have all the time to make the most perfect RPG, MMO, 8 generations, 8 regions, every single Pokemon, National Dex, Mega Evolution, Z-Moves, Gigantamax, include every feature in a perfect world. But it's not a perfect world, and to be honest, all that probably wouldn't actually make a good game. But I hope you guys enjoyed looking at this stuff with me. I thought it could make a cool video because I don't see many people talking about it, I guess in video form at least. I want to give a big thank you to Joe, Sarabi Joe. He's the one that provided me with a lot of these. He is an encyclopedia when it comes to Pokemon. So thank you to him. Thank you to Lotad for helping me get some of the after screenshots. Thank you to Lewchube for providing some screenshots on Twitter too. And thank you for watching. Peace.